Peter Greenberg's live global travel update is presented to you by Colette. Discover the world. Guided travel since 1918.
Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday, February 12th, 2 days before what I call the most overrated, overpriced holiday of the year, but I'll get to that. We have too much to talk about news right now. And so let me give you some updates, and then we'll do some other stuff and then answer some of your questions as we always do. Here's the latest on that tragic Midair collision in Washington, D.C. over Washington Reagan between the American Airlines CRJ 700 and the Army Black Hawk helicopter. Again, everything I'm telling you is still preliminary, but this is what investigators already now know. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, we'll get a preliminary report from the NTSB, followed by a final report in about 6 months that will not only detail the probable cause, but will make some urgent safety recommendations to the FAA, and I'll get to that later too. Because it's been a crazy week where we had a serious runway incursion in Scottsdale, where you saw the video, that terrible video, the landing gear collapse and break away from the plane and it hurtling into another plane, killing the pilot. We also had a tarmac incursion in Seattle between a Japan Airlines 787 and a Delta Airlines 737. Let's first start with the midair collision. This is what the investigators now know. They know that the American Airlines pilots were doing the right thing, and they were where they were supposed to be. Part one. They also know that the helicopter was flying at about 175 feet above where he should have been, and he was already off course. But what they also have discovered, we didn't know about this last week, is that the transponder on the helicopter wasn't transponding the way it should have been. There are two different transponders, and it was just giving out a radar signal to the controllers and not the most sophisticated transponding squawk, which would have given controllers the identity of the aircraft, meaning the helicopter, its speed, its direction, and its exact altitude. What else compounded the problem? Only one controller working that night who didn't have access to that information because it wasn't there. So we have a lot of stuff to unpack here in terms of restructuring the FAA, staffing at the FAA in terms of air traffic control, and of course, what was the helicopter doing anywhere near the landing path of a commercial jetliner at Washington Reagan? So the FAA has moved quickly to ban low-level helicopter flights anywhere near the airport. They should have done that years ago, and a much more heavily restricted and enforced TCA, Terminal Control Area. That's the restricted airspace around the most restricted airspace in Washington, D.C., which is Washington Reagan, because of its proximity to the Capitol and the White House. So that's what they know so far. Now let's talk about what happened in Scottsdale. A Learjet on approach and landed when the main landing gear broke away from the plane, and the plane ended up dragging the wing at high speed. The pilot had no control of the plane and veered off the runway and into a parked private jet as well, immediately killing the pilot and injuring people on that plane as well. It's called officially a runway incursion, a more unusual one, simply because neither pilots, actually there's only one pilot here, of the Learjet had control. The other plane was parked. But the whole idea of runway incursions is still a huge issue. In 2023, there were 19 of them. There were more in 2023 and 2024 runway incursions than there were in the last decade. Something wrong with that. And then let's go to this video in Seattle. Yeah, I'm going to it. Yeah, Japan Airlines 787, that right wing slicing right into the tail of the Boeing 737 operated by Delta. We're seeing more and more of those collisions in tight quarters because they are tight quarters. Here's the problem. It gets down to airline scheduling and capacity, both on the runway and the tarmac, not to mention the gates. Airports can do a better job of controlling this, but they don't. Planes get, in a deregulated environment. If you have a landing slot at an airport, come on in. The problem is if there's a plane that hasn't pushed out, or you're dealing with parallel runways and a plane can't cross it because of excessive takeoffs or excessive landings, it's a huge traffic jam. And anybody who flies can tell you that the distance between the wingtip of one plane and the wingtip of another, when you get to the gates, is pretty tiny. So we're seeing more and more of those as well. But again, it gets down to scheduling and basic runway and tarmac capacity. I've landed at JFK and have been stuck out on the runway, unable to cross because there's too many takeoffs going down the other runway, parallel runways. What happens when they finally give you permission to cross? You're bunched up at the gate with no room to move. It's a simple solution here. It's called common sense scheduling, right? Don't schedule to be competitive, schedule to be realistic. Obviously, this is all going to be looked at, hopefully now in the new age of a new FAA administrator and a new Secretary of Transportation, who, by the way, announced yesterday that he was talking to Elon Musk about making the airspace better. Well, that's great. But Elon Musk isn't a pilot. Talk to the pilots. Talk to the people who operate the planes. Talk to the people who report on these things. Talk to the National Transportation Safety Board. Elon Musk wants to clear up the airspace so he gets to launch more rockets without being told by the FAA that he's interfering with airspace. That's why he wanted the last FAA administrator fired, because they were going to fine him for doing just that. So, look, I'm all in favor of everybody talking to everybody, but start with the people who actually know what they're doing. The pilots, the air traffic controllers, the NTSB. I'll even throw my hat into the ring. All right? That's what's going on there. Speaking of talking to the government, I'm sad to report, and I knew this was coming, the airlines have increased their lobbying efforts, going back again to the U.S. Department of Transportation to try to water down the rules they issued last year, the proposed rules about passenger compensation in the event of airline controllable delays and cancellations. And let's hope that this doesn't happen. Remember, without financial consequences, bad behavior continues. And by the way, a flight delay doesn't just impact one political party. It implicates and impacts all of us. It transcends politics. Let's not react as Republicans or Democrats. Let's react as passengers whose time is important to us about delays and cancellations that are avoidable because they're under the control of the airlines. Not talking about weather, talking about everything else. So we'll be following that story as well. Now, I promised you I was going to have something to say about February 14th. So here it comes. The most overpriced, overrated holiday in America, Valentine's Day. You know how Valentine's Day got its name? It was named for two Christian martyrs, one a priest and a physician who was beheaded on February 14th in Rome, and another priest who was beheaded on February 14th in Rome. Wow, that's a great holiday. And the other legend is that birds pick their mates on Valentine's Day. As a result, you can now triple pay for roses, chocolate, champagne, hotel rooms, and restaurant reservations where they want you out of there in 90 minutes to turn the tables. When everybody else has the most unoriginal idea of all, let's take my significant other out to dinner and triple pay. If you truly love your significant other, stay home and order Chinese on February 14th. And then wait a week, bring your own champagne, roses, and chocolate, get a better deal on the hotel suite, and show her how much you really love her or how much you really love him. Get it? I mean, come on. Or if you're really desperate, stay at home and watch reruns of The Bachelor. There's a rose involved there too. All right, moving on. I just really wanted to get to that. One of the reasons why I'm here in New York right now is because tonight is our premiere of our latest hidden special, which you'll be seeing very soon on PBS, Amazon, Apple TV, and YouTube. And it's called Hidden Uganda. Here's a little tease.
Get set for a very special journey deep into the heart of Africa, to a place most people have never experienced. I'm Peter Greenberg, and join me as we navigate a country where old rhythms live on and ancient instruments create modern sounds. A land of distant wonders and the promise of endless bounties, and all still waiting to be discovered. Welcome to Hidden Uganda.
So check your local listings, and about a month from now, it'll also be running on Amazon, Apple TV, and YouTube. So hope you get a chance to see it. I hope you like it. It's part of our continuing series, which also includes Hidden Ireland, Hidden Saudi Arabia, Hidden Belize, Hidden Canary Islands, Hidden Portugal, Hidden Turkey, Hidden Aegean, Hidden Uganda, and coming up later this year, Hidden Egypt, Hidden Malta, Hidden Hong Kong. So stay tuned for that. A couple of other things, some storm clouds on the horizon in terms of how much it's going to cost you to travel. A recent survey that was just published in Forbes, an overwhelming number of Americans, I mean, when I think about it, 44% claim they're more worried about overspending every time they travel and their affordability. They don't think they can afford to travel anymore. That's 44%. Here's another statistic. 30% of Americans who go to Disney go into debt to do it. That really shouldn't be the way we travel. So get ready for some interesting developments there. Okay. I always say, before we get obsessed with artificial intelligence, let's talk about natural stupidity. Or anytime you eliminate me from having a conversation with a human being who I'm looking at right in front of me, you're basically devaluing my travel experience. Any way you look at it. Well, I want you to check this out. This comes from the Baymont Hotel, the Baymont by Wyndham in Bonita Springs. That's in Naples, in Florida. This is what their check-in desk looks like.
All right, one moment. Okay, I have changed it to a regular room. And ma'am, any preference for the floor? First floor, second floor, or third floor?
The third.
Third, okay.
That's right. You go to check in Naples and you're talking to India. Why does that improve my travel experience? Anytime I walk into an airport or a hotel and I see a kiosk, I divert. Unless I'm always going to go between LaGuardia and Chicago for the rest of my life on a Monday at 3 p.m, I avoid the kiosk. I want to have a conversation. I want to know what my alternatives and my options are. I want information. And I know this sounds bizarre in this world, I also would like to establish a relationship with the person I'm talking with, because chances are I'm going to be back to that airport again. Or they may know somebody in another airport I can say hi to, right? You don't get an upgrade in life at a kiosk. I'm sorry. And I'm not talking about an upgraded room or an upgraded airline seat. I'm talking about an upgraded experience, even if it's a smile. Anyway, welcome to the world of the new check-in kiosk, as opposed to the check-in desk. Ugh. All right. Now let's keep going. I'll be speaking this Friday in Phoenix. It's part of the Travel and Adventure shows. We can pull up that screen and you'll see everywhere else I'm speaking. So it's this Saturday in Phoenix on February 15th, as everybody recovers from the most overrated, overpriced holiday in America. Nobody bring me any roses. And then the following week in Los Angeles, and then followed by Denver, the Bay Area, and Washington, D.C. So I hope you'll come out and see me. We have lots to discuss and happy to answer any of your questions. Let's scroll down and say hello to some folks today. Jim and Harriet, always first on the grid from Richmond, Virginia. Priya is now in Chicago, snowy. April is in sunny Las Vegas, where they're hoping for some rain. Tisha's saying hi from very, very rainy Holly Springs, Georgia. Paul's saying greetings from snowy but pretty Ashland, Virginia. Yes, it is pretty there. Okay, and Michael's checking in from Ohio. All right, Harriet and Jim say we're planning to come to D.C. for the Travel Expo in March. Will you be there both days? I will. I'll be there both. Whatever that Saturday and Sunday is, I'm there both days. There it is, right there. I'm there the 29th and the 30th. There you go, and we'll see you there. Okay. George says, what are my thoughts on taking an overseas adventure travel to Tunisia? I like OAT. They do a very, very good job. It's not over-the-top luxury, but they are a responsible tour operation, and you're going to an amazing place. with an amazing coastline. Tunisia's got everything, not to mention the desert, but it's got a great history. It's a wonderful place. I heartily endorse it. So have fun with those guys, and they do a great job. Okay, here we go. Michael wants to know, have I ever been to Tromsø? Other than the Aurora, what are the top things to see in October? Well, yes, I've been to Tromsø, but you don't just go to Tromsø. You pick 6 or 7 other cities. The distances aren't great, and you can just hop and even take the train if you want. So yes. Now, October is sort of a gray month. That's getting into their very deep winter, and you'll be losing a lot of light. But in any case, a lot of people don't go there for the light. They go there for the ambiance and for the food, and yes, for the Aurora. Okay. Judy says hello from Scottsdale. Well, I'll be in Phoenix this Friday to be speaking on Saturday. Hope I see you there. Rochelle says thank you. Oh, thank you, Rochelle, for that nice note. Colleen says, what does the sign behind your head mean? Oh, it's not a real sign, but it looks like a runway sign that a pilot would see. Let's spell it out. Aviator. Get it? Okay. Okay, Judy wants to, Elon not a pilot? Isn't he the master of the universe? No comment. All right, let's see. Judy says, enjoyed your hidden Napa. Thank you for mentioning that, Judy. It's now online. You can see it, part of our hidden series on the Travel Detective. All the things in Napa that are not necessarily related to wine. All right, so I think we can post the link. If we can, Anthony will do that. You can see it right now. Thank you, Judy, for saying that. Okay. Joy says, when checking your bags at the airport, should you put a lock on your suitcase or will it be cut off? If it's a TSA approved lock, you'll get the lock back. If it's not, it will be cut off. But by the way, even the TSA locks, they're ornamental. Remember this. Thieves don't steal bags. Thieves steal items from bags. So what you need to do before you ever get to the airport, and as you're packing your bag, hopefully with not, cash, mink stoles, jewelry, none of that will be covered if they lose your bag. But you do have valuable things that are valuable to you. Take a photograph of everything you put in your bag. Make sure it's time-coded. On the inside of your bag, as you lift it up, get some masking tape with some indelible magic marker. Put your name and phone number in case your baggage tag on the outside is ripped off. And then get a couple of air tags and put one of them in that bag and track your bag. Last but not least, and definitely not least, when you get to the airport, I know what you want to do. You're so excited to see your bag on the conveyor belt, you grab and run. No, remember, thieves don't steal bags. They steal items from bags. Open the bag up right there. And if something's missing, you have photographic evidence that you took earlier, go file the claim. If you wait till you get home, it's your word against the airlines, you're out of luck. Okay? Rochelle is saying the American Society of Travel Advisors will be busy again on Capitol Hill. That's right. The airlines have ramped up their lobbying. And this is not, I'm just not happy about that. All right, Lena says, I'm taking a cruise in May going out of Lisbon. We got the package through the cruise company along with the airfare, flying out of Miami with a stop in London. Do I need a visa for that? Oh, you're talking about the electronic visa. Well, initially when they started the ETA, they said if you're just changing planes in London, doesn't matter. You're entering the country, you need the visa. A lot of pushback from that. They've now eliminated that requirement as long as you're doing just that, going from one plane to another, not leaving the airport. If you're just stopping in London between Miami and Lisbon, you won't need the ETA. Okay? If you're going to London for a day or two, you will. Okay? And by the way, if you're getting to Lisbon, hopefully a day or two before the cruise, email me, peter@petergreenberg.com, and I'll give you some unbelievable restaurant recommendations. My three of my favorite restaurants are in Lisbon. All right, Camilla saying hi from Tucson. Barbara saying, greetings from rainy Georgia. Tim saying, yesterday you mentioned medical evacuation and repatriation insurance yearly policy for about $700. How can I look that up? Oh, very easy. There are 3 companies that I like and recommend that do that. One is called MedJet Assist. One is called Travel Guard, and one is called Allianz. They each offer medical evacuation and repatriation insurance, and they each offer annual policies. But again, I caution you, get somebody to sell it to you who can read you the fine print of the policy language, because it all varies and there are exclusions. Okay. Okay. Yeah. My good friend Bruce Siegel wants to know, did I ask my wife her thoughts on Valentine's Day? And his wife reminds him that every day is Valentine's Day. Nicely done. I'll remember that when I explain to her why we're not going out on Valentine's Day. Okay? Believe me, I more than make up for it. Right? Common sense. But thank you for reminding me. Okay. Bria says, she missed meeting me in person in Chicago by 2 days. I'll be back. That was for the Travel and Adventure Show in Chicago. Okay, here we go. Tayo saying, what's the point of not having someone there in person? So if you have a problem at the kiosk, where are we supposed to go? India. My problem with third world call centers, which is really what that is the training. It's not the nationality of the person. It's not their ethnic origin. It's the training. And the training usually sucks. They don't know the difference between Delhi and Dallas or Dulles. They think New Mexico is a country. I'm a huge fan of local knowledge, and you get that with a human being who actually works at that hotel or at that airport. So your point, well taken. Okay, Southern California, Jeff saying hello from wet Southern California. And hi from warm Florida. Hello, Carol Ann. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's raining all over the place. The Alexander's in Zurich, where it's raining. Paul says, Norse announced discount fares from JFK to Europe if booked by February 28th. Thinking about booking JFK to Charles de Gaulle for late September for $600 round trip. Book it or wait. No, book it. But for those of you watching, I'll be talking about this when I'm in LA. Norse just announced this summer nonstop service. It's probably one of their longest flights, LA to Athens. And you know what? It's all coach. You'll be crammed in there, but the price is right. Joe saying, looking forward to seeing you tonight at the premiere. Okay, Joe. Scott saying hi from Chicago. Speaking of the travel show, we were disappointed you didn't do a meet and greet at the Chicago show. Well, you know what? I was racing to catch a plane. What a story of my life. But get what? We're meeting and greeting right now, Scott, and hopefully I'll be able to do a repeat performance for you at the next show. I'm sorry about that. Jeff says, have I ever stayed at a ryokan onsen in Tokyo? Yes, I have. Phenomenal. Because some of them are in Tokyo, some of them are right outside Tokyo, and it's your pulse rate goes down. I'm telling you. But if you really want to have the experience, do it in Kyoto. Okay. We've listed the hidden gems of Napa Valley online. You can see that. Tim says, did I get a chance to find out about IntelliTravel Advisor? You know what? I didn't. And Anthony and I will get on that for you. I'll have an answer for you at the next Global Travel Update. I've literally been living on planes. What a surprise. But we will get you that answer. Sorry about that, Tim. Okay. Patrick Cooney says, I'll see you on the 22nd of February. Are you coming dressed as Captain Stubing? That's what I want to know, Patrick. Ginger says, I use a twist tie to assure my bag is always zipped. That's good. What says nothing to steal here more than a twist tie? I like it. But remember, the TSA will cut that when they inspect your bag. Okay. Hello from Texas from Josh. Says, thanks for your weekly updates. Have an 8-hour layover from 4 p.m. to midnight in Bogota in June. Worth it to leave the airport? And if so, any must-dos or sees? By the time you clear customs in Bogota, right, and then get back, I'm saying don't do it. It's just not enough time. April says, would I fly into Casablanca or Marrakesh from the U.S.? How far in advance would you purchase the flight? Well, that's a no-brainer answer for me now, because now you can fly nonstop to Marrakesh. My favorite city to fly into in Morocco. United Airlines started nonstop service last October, so just about 4 months ago, from Newark, nonstop. Great deal. To me, I know I'm going to anger some people out there. Casablanca is somewhat overrated. There's no such thing as Rick's Casino, even though there is one there now, but it's a complete contrivance. I love Marrakesh. I love, oh my goodness, I love Tangier and a few other places, but not a big fan of Casablanca. Sorry about that. Tim, Any update on the Southwest Iceland Air? No update on that yet, but they're going to make a decision on that code share probably by the end of this month, early March, because they're getting ready for the summer. Okay, Laurel says, in Florida, I was wanting to go on a tour. I was directed to a kiosk to sign up to go on a kayak tour, then do a human desk to pay. Then they tell me there's no tour today. Bypass the kiosk. Get disappointed in person. That's what I always say. All right, Lorena says, hello from Lansing, racing for the snow. Okay, but she's got a stash of chocolate, she told me. And Willie says, greetings from Denver. Hope you're doing well. I'll be in Denver speaking on the 8th of, I believe the 8th or the 7th of March. So I hope I get a chance to see you there. All right, some more things we want to talk about. Now, a couple of other questions that you guys sent in. Let me get to them right now. Oh, here we go. Sorry, a lot of questions here. Matthew says, how is the Budapest Metro in comparison to the best ones? You know what? It's okay. How about that? No great shakes. They don't have an extensive rail system anyway, but it's okay. Chris says, looking for another city as walkable as Venice. Any suggestions? I've been to a lot of European cities. Yeah, how about Prague? I love to walk around Prague, or the old city of Stockholm. That's definitely well worth it. Terry says, I'm generally a see what's good in the area when it's time to eat type of person. Historically, I would just search Google Maps for restaurants near me and then filter for what was currently open and highly rated. But like so many things, it looked like it's become a victim of, oh, I see it. Yep. I can't mention that. Have you found a decent alternative? Yeah. You know what I do? When I'm in a foreign city, I sort of get a consensus. I'll ask the concierge at the hotel, but then I'll ask the bellhop or the maid, because they know where the best food is and the most affordable food too, in the neighborhoods, not just the main areas. That's the key. Okay. Just thought I'd mention that. Let's keep going. Kate says, what is the best time to go to the Grand Canyon without the crowds? November, December, January, February, and even March. And you can also go to Grand Canyon West. Very cool thing there at Grand Canyon West, unless you're really afraid of heights. But check it out, because that's also the home of the Hualapai Indians. And a story that hasn't really been well told. We just did a special on it. It'll be coming up on the Travel Detective in the next season, which is going to start very, very soon. But check out Grand Canyon West. But even if you're going to the other rim, November, December, January, February, early March. Weather's better too. Okay. Fran says, if I book a ticket now for summer 2025 travel, how do I add the ETIAS to my ticket? Well, you still have to, when you apply for the ETIAS, but by the way, that doesn't even kick in until the end of April. Remember, ETA for the United Kingdom, you got to do it now. The ETIAS doesn't even kick in until like the 25th or the 28th of April. So you have plenty of time. All right. And remember, you just have to get that ETIAS within 3 or 4 days before you take your flight. So you'll be fine. Okay. Tony says, we're trying to book a family trip for our first time to El Salvador and want to know what the best time to go. Well, you know what? When it comes down to Central America, with very, very few exceptions, seasonality is dead for me. I go anytime I want to go. Seriously. Right? And El Salvador is now slowly becoming a travel and tourism destination. So you're not going to have crowds, but it's an amazing place to go. Okay. Tony says, oh, that was your first time in El Salvador. I read that. Ann says, this summer between late August and early September, my boyfriend and I have planned a trip through Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, ending at Victoria Falls. Where do you recommend staying for visiting the falls? Well, if you take a look at where the falls are, it's really on the border of Zambia and about 40 minutes away, you're in Botswana. I'd stay at a camp in Botswana. Go to the falls, have a great day trip there, right? And then head over to Botswana along the banks of the Chobe River. You will not be disappointed. Okay. And Beth says, I was just in Masai Mara and liked it, and I want to return to either Rwanda or Uganda. I used a travel agent for this trip and was disappointed because most of the places I stayed were commercial and busy, relatively speaking. Have you gone on an African safari and experienced seclusion with a guide and privacy? Is that hard to find? No, it's not. there are a number of great safari outfitters, whether it's Mikado or Abercrombie and Kent. There are many others as well. You need to, first of all, work with a travel agent who specializes in Africa, right? The three leading consortia of travel agents, that's Virtuoso, Signature, and Travel Leaders. If you get on their website and say, I'm interested in going to Africa, by the time they fine-tune that, they will get you to a travel agent or a travel advisor who does nothing but Africa. That's who you want to talk to because they have essentially local knowledge. Okay. Heather says, I'm flying to Lisbon on TAP Air, landing at 11:30 a.m., arriving from the U.S. I have a 2.5-hour time period before boarding another TAP or flight to Porto. These are two separate tickets. I'm hopeful that 2.5 hours is enough time. Well, wait a second. Separate tickets is not the issue here. Is it on the same airline? I'm assuming it is. Are you checking bags? Then what you need to do is when you check in for your flight in the U.S., show them both tickets so that the bags check through, that you don't have to go retrieve them and clear customs and then go back in. I mean, Lisbon's known for really long lines. They still haven't fixed the problem yet. But that's what I would do, okay? Make sure they'll tag your bags all the way through. Okay. All right, let's scroll down a few more. Hold on a second. I'm going to scroll back up here. And now scrolling back down. Scott says, planning a 1-week December Christmas market trip, Vienna to Zurich, flying in from Chicago. Do you recommend flying to the farther destinations at the beginning of the week? It doesn't matter. However, if you're going to do the Christmas markets, and are you just doing Austria or are you doing Germany? If you're going to Germany, do the one in Nuremberg. What an amazing Christmas market. But it doesn't matter which ones you do, right? It really doesn't. All right. Alexander says, just been to London again. Wonderful walking city. And wow, they have restricted city car traffic. Long time. They've done that a lot there for a long time. Let's talk about surge pricing like they've just done in New York. Okay. I'm trying to see with this. Interesting update from Camilla who says the Grand Canyon, October, November, and April. The North Rim will be closed in the spring. My point exactly. November, December, January, February, March. There we go. Okay. Oh, Willie's agreeing on the kiosks. Thank you. Tim wants to know any updates on auctioning yourself for a lunch with Peter. Yeah. Today is what, the 12th? On the 20th, I'll take that back. When I get back, because we're traveling, I will have it all set up in March. We'll do the auction. The charity is going to be Operation USA. You can check them out. They do unbelievable work. There's a charity started by Julie Andrews, but Richard Walden is the executive director. I serve on the board. They're now hard at work helping everybody else out in California after those devastating fires. So that'll be the charity, and we'll auction it off. We'll start with a high floor, though, because I want to raise as much money as I can for Operation USA. And I'm buying lunch, okay? All right, so Anthony, please remind me. We'll set that up, and we'll announce it in early March. All right. Here we go. Okay, now let's go to the photo of the week. I love this one. Look at that light. Unbelievable. Linda LeBrock was the one who, or Librock, sent this in. She writes, this was taken at Cape Willamine, Australia, on our way to see the Penguin Parade on Phillip Island. It was right after a rainstorm. Believe it or not, and Anthony can confirm this because he's sitting in another room right now, I have a photograph taken right there on my wall that looks just like yours. Gee, I wonder why I picked it as the photo of the week. But no, the light after a storm and that coast is unbelievable. So congratulations, Linda, for doing that. And if you think you have a photograph like that qualifies as the photo of the week, you know what to do. It's photo contest at petergreenberg.com, and we will post it right up there next to Linda's. And in the meantime, please remember what I said about Valentine's Day. I'm not being cynical. I'm being practical. I'm saving you money and heartache. That's right, heartache. Don't do it. Stay at home and eat all the chocolate you want. Okay, enough of that. All right, a reminder, this Saturday, speaking in Phoenix at the Travel and Adventure Show, then next Saturday, the 22nd, at the LA Convention Center at their Travel and Adventure Show. And in between that, we'll be flying all over the place. First, of course, this week into Phoenix. So we'll see you there. And in the meantime, the premiere tonight of Hidden Uganda. I'll be attending that, of course. And then on a plane early tomorrow morning, we'll stay on top of all investigations from the Midair collision at Reagan to the incident in Scottsdale, and of course, the continued tarmac incursions, if you will, at airports around America. Fingers crossed that the DOT doesn't backtrack on the financial consequences of their proposed rules about delays and cancellations. And I will see you guys next week. Travel safe. See you soon.
Peter Greenberg's live global travel update is presented to you by Colette. Discover the world. Guided travel since 1918.